Welcome to the Real Estate Finder podcast. I'm Matthew Maschler, real estate broker with Signature Real Estate Finder here in the great state of Florida. And with me, my co-host for the day, Preston Smith. Preston, how are you?
Oh, I'm wonderful, Matt. How are yourself?
All right. Good to see you. And we have a very special guest today. He is Rakesh Bandari. He is the business development manager for United Water Restoration. Let me see, make sure I got that right. United Water Restoration Group. He's the business development manager. United Water Restoration Group takes care of unexpected water, fire, or mold damage that can put a property at risk. And we were introduced by Carolyn Raff, who runs the Signature Real Estate Vendor Network. She introduced us to Rakesh, and I immediately invited Rakesh onto this podcast. I don't know if that was a very aggressive move, but it's I find it to be a good way to meet people and get to know them. And I knew that when I had this conversation with Rakesh, I would have wished I recorded it. So here we are on the Rakesh. Welcome to the Real Estate Finder podcast. How are you today?
I'm doing great, Matt. Preston, nice to meet you guys finally in the flesh.
Finally,
we spoke on the phone. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So, first question I want to ask right out the gate, Rakesh, what do I do if I was away for the weekend and I come home to water in my house, an inch or two of water in the house from the kitchen to the living room? You could sail a boat. The rugs are ruined. What do I do?
Probably leave the house. No, I'm just joking.
Call your real estate agent, sell the house.
Right? Get a listing going. Well, you still got to clean up the water first. First thing always, even for a lay person, maybe doesn't have technical expertise, first thing you always want to do if you have a flood or an active leak is to try to see if you can locate and isolate where the water's coming from.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. First thing, you stop that water from coming in. Absolutely. Go into the sink, shut off valve or the main valve to the house.
Correct. And if you can't isolate it, maybe turn off the shutoff valve that maybe feeds that location. If it's a toilet in a bathroom, or if it's underneath the kitchen sink, or worst case, maybe turn the main water off to the house, at least temporarily, so you can minimize the damage.
And if it's coming in through the roof, if it's raining and coming through the roof,
that's not a good situation. But what you can do is, we actually offer tarp services, so we can put a tarp over the roof until such time that the roof can be repaired, and that would also, minimize the damage of the water intrusion at that point in time. So, step one, try to isolate it if you can. If you can't, either way, you want to call your restoration contractor, which hopefully that's United Water Restoration Group of South Florida.
Right, and yes, and obviously, if you don't know who to call, right, and you call your real estate agent. I want any of my real estate agents out there that are listening. One of the reasons I do this podcast and the reason Signature has their vendor list, the reason I wanted to meet Rakesh is because in that emergency, you get that call. Oh my God, there's all this water. What do I do? Here's what you do. You call Rakesh from United Water Group. So first thing is try to shut off the water. If it's coming in through the roof, maybe put out buckets and whatnot.
Right.
Do you have anything you can do while it's still raining, while it's raining and coming in through the roof? Do you have what could I do?
Well, that's all that you really could do is try to catch the water if you can. It depends on how much water we're talking about, right? If it's a gaping hole, you're going to be emptying out buckets. But the sooner you can contact me in that particular scenario, the sooner we can get out there. If we need to, we can put a tarp over the roof. That'll stop the water from coming in. And then we can go through, this next step, which would be water extraction.
Do you answer your phone 24 hours?
I carry 2 phones with me at all times. Personal, business. This phone, I have it set to where there's like an alarm that'll just even wake me up out of a dead cold sleep. So yes, if it's in the middle of the night, after hours, on the weekends, we answer. I take the phone with me everywhere. We answer the phone automatically, immediately. If for some chance I can't answer the phone, it will roll over to the next guy in line, which is my operations manager. So someone will always respond. And worst case scenario, if you leave me a message, I'm going to call you back right away.
Now, I had a question out of curiosity because, how many people like don't know where the main like valve is to shut off the water in their house? Because I imagine that probably pops up. People just don't think about that. Like,
Correct.
like how do you find that if you don't know how to?
It's a good question. And I think, from a real estate professional perspective, it's something that we probably want to, maybe it's a consultation when you're meeting with your seller or your buyer. Well, at least in this case, a seller, I would assume, as you're getting the lay of the land. Most of the time, your main shutoff valves are going to be located in a couple different places. Sometimes it's located outside the house, where your main water line first branches from the water source from the city, or if you have a well, and then goes into the house. So either it's usually on the outside of the house, or it might be on the inside of the house, like in the garage, wherever your utilities or your mechanical appliances, such as the water heater, are located. So you want to look either on the outside of the house, where your water hookup is, or on the inside, like in the garage. We don't really have basements down here, but usually in the utility closet, wherever the water first comes into the home.
Gotcha.
I'm gonna
that's interesting.
I was trying to interrupt, Preston. I was trying to interrupt, but I was on mute. So we're trying to be a little bit entertaining and educational here. So I do talk faster on the podcast than normal.
Okay.
But Preston, that was actually a really great question, and I want you to do the following things with it. One, include it in the newsletter in the Ask the Broker section. Two,
cool.
Two, on our real estate checklist and timeline checklist, I want you to include it on the day of the inspection. Now, I want you to put this wiki. I want you to put this interview in the wiki, but I want you to get in the day of the inspection an important thing where we tell our customer, hey, on the day of the inspection, find out where the main water shutoff valve is. Because you may need that in the future. And then what I want you to do is somewhere I want you to note, how twice a year there's daylight saving time, you spring forward, fall back.
Yeah.
And that's when they tell you to check your smoke alarms, check the batteries and smoke alarms. I'd like to add that message to remind yourself where you keep or where your house main water valve is. So just as a reminder, remind yourself where the main water valve is and check your flashlights. And that way, because in the heat of, in a fire, people panic, right? But in the water, people panic. And everybody thinks about fire with the smoke alarms. Everybody thinks about losing power with the flashlights. Nobody thinks about the water. That's what this really... Rakesh, and I also wonder, I wonder if that's why you named your company United Water Restoration, even though you do fire, smoke, and mold restoration. But I wonder if that's why you named water, because there's so much that people they don't think about the water, so it really puts it out there.
Well, I mean, with regards to the naming convention, it's fires are not that they don't happen, but they're more extreme cases. A lot of times there's a misconception when it comes to restoration jobs or restoration work, that it's always like the major disaster, like you just said, a flood of the house is flooded with 2 inches of water. Usually it's not that extreme, even though we do respond to those emergency scenarios. More often than not, it's the lesser extreme situations, like a water heater. That could still be pretty, dramatic as far as a water heater busting, but like a toilet overflowing, or maybe the ice maker water line on the refrigerator busts, that can cause some damage. Again, these are things that you can typically catch to where it doesn't completely destroy everything.
The boiler. Okay, so now, the email that I got introducing you to me through Carolyn over at Signature Van, it literally happened, and I don't think you know this or not. I got that email while 14 fans and 7 industrial dehumidifiers were set up in my house. I wish I had known you.
Awesome.
A week. No,
not so awesome. All right.
I wish I would have known you a week or two earlier. But yeah, the shutting off the water, great first step. Removing the water is now the second step. And Rakesh, you do that, right? You come in and with the shovel.
Yeah. So excuse me. So there's levels to everything. And again, if it's such a dramatic case where you've got inches of water that you're walking through, we have a process of removing the water by pumping it out if we need to. In less extreme cases, it's just maybe dampness or moisture that's present. We do bring in, the dehumidification machines to basically over time extract the water that's in the atmosphere of that confined space.
Do you if a toilet overflows or if a sink pipe bursts, is this something that the homeowner is responsible for the payment of your services, or do you usually work with insurance?
So, I mean, it can go either, it can go down either path. What I'll say about insurance is, and this is something I would pass on to the realtors that you want to express with your homeowners, because sometimes homeowners will go right away and contact the insurance company. What I suggest is, give us a call, right? Let me go out and assess it to determine if it's even claim worthy, right? Sometimes it may not even be claim worthy. It might be within their deductible. So you would kind of be spinning your wheels, end up having a probably less than desirable outcome from the insurance side of things. And they actually put you on the not so nice list because you placed the claim to begin with. Now, if it is extensive enough to where the homeowner says, I'm unable to or don't want to pay out of pocket to do this work, let's enlist the insurance company. We are one of the top, we're on the preferred vendors list for all of the major insurance providers in the state. And with that being said, not only do we understand how to follow the protocol of what the insurance companies ask for claims processing, we also have our staff in the office, our administrative staff that knows how to navigate the claims, understands the protocol, how to reach out and communicate with the insurance provider. So we know exactly how to navigate and provide that guidance to the homeowner as well.
If you call the insurance company and ask questions and say, hey, we had a flood, what is my deductible? I'm not sure if I'm going to put in a claim or not. Do you think they will take a note, make a little footnote of that and put you on that nice?
Well, I don't know if they put you on the not so nice list, but they are obligated. I've had conversations like this with insurance agents as well, and for the most part, they are obligated to note and document the conversation, right? So I feel like the insurance company.
If you're talking to the insurance, if you're calling the insurance company directly,
yeah,
they're obligated to note the conversation and put that in your file. Yeah.
Even some of the brokers.
The brokers, I'd be the most surprised if they weren't obligated, right?
Right.
They work for the insurance company, right?
So that's why I say if you receive that inquiry, the best thing to do is to let us come out, because we can also look at we look at insurance policies all the time, and we will let the homeowner know, okay, this is what your policy provides for or does not provide for.
All right.
So again,
the takeaway here, and the reason I asked the question is, if you're thinking about going through your insurance company and you're not sure, do not ask the insurance agent. They're not on your side. They have obligations to the company. And do not ask the company, right? They're not the customer service rep. They're going to put that note in your file. So if you decide not to put in a claim because you don't want your rates to go up, your rates may go up because you told the insurance company.
Yeah, I mean, we're not advocating that it's a secret or sure. To be, it's not. I wouldn't even say that they're not on your side. It's just that once you start the process, you've started the process.
Right.
So it's better to have us look at it first and then say whether you should or are able to go that way, or is there another solution?
I'm not trying to be deceitful when I say it. Something happened in your house, you fixed it. You don't have to tell the insurance company. And if your plan is to not tell the insurance company, don't tell the insurance company that you're thinking about it. Don't tell the agent, and don't tell the company, because they're going to put that note in. So go with a third-party adjuster, a public adjuster, or someone like Rakesh to review your policy to make that decision. I see it all the time where people call the agent. Should I report it? Oh, you just did.
You already did.
You just did. So first thing, shut off the water. Second thing, removing the water, and then and dehumidifying. Rakesh, you do testing for mold and mold remediation.
Yes. So with regards to mold, and that's why it's so important as far as removing the water and extracting it and drying the place out. Sometimes people think, well, there's a little bit of water spilled. I can just mop it up and dry it up with towels. It's not the water that you can see. It's the water that you can't see, because what happens is it goes down behind the baseboards, into the drywall, and, it may not be provide enough ventilation for it to dry out, which is why we come in with the machines and dry it out that way. Also, the water can seep down and stay underneath the subflooring or in the walls, and that's where you foster that environment where where mold may start to grow. It only takes 48 to 72 hours for the mold spurs to start to develop if it's in the right environment. So, but if it does get to that stage where you feel like when we come out and we see that there's growth there, we can sample it. There's hundreds of different types of mold. None of them are really good. Some are more harmful than others. But the point is that the only way to really get rid of it is to follow a certain protocol to remediate it, and that's where we come in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then once everything's dry, you probably need to throw out the carpeting and replace that. Get the rugs cleaned and dried out. They're not gonna dry in your backyard. You can't put the rugs on your patio furniture to dry out. Do you do that? Do you do the rug cleaning, or do you send that out?
Yes. So, and again, we're throwing a little bit of hypotheticals of different scenarios, how to respond to different scenarios. If you've got flooring damage to where you have to remove the floors, you're probably going to have to put down new flooring. Mm-hmm. But if you have carpeting, and again, is it a throw rug or is it installed, carpeting? You're probably going to have to put in new carpeting, new flooring. Throw rugs, space rug, area rugs, we can actually dry them out. We have a ways of doing that as well. We have a warehouse set up just to treat contents inside the home, which I wanted to mention that. It's really geared for fire jobs, but it can also be for mold, for remediating mold off of personal property and drying it out and cleaning it. Mm-hmm. We have a contents division, and not all restoration companies do, a separate location just to, if you've got mold in the house or you end up having a fire situation, most of the time it's not the damage from the fire, it's the smoke and the soot that builds up on personal property, such as clothing, electronics, houseware, dishes, that type of thing. I've got dishwashers, industrial laundry equipment to clean and isolate the materials. And then we can pack it out, take it there, clean everything, put it back together, and bring it back to the house once the house is ready for the materials to be returned. And that includes the carpet in that case.
All right. So now you got the water out of your house, you dried the house, you remediated the mold, and it's time to rebuild. Do you have the carpenters and cabinet people and the painters, or do I go and hire my professionals?
Yeah. So, a lot of times, and you're kind of leading right down that path where if it's extensive enough damage where you had to open the walls, or maybe you had to remove some of the flooring, it can be extensive. It just depends on the levels of it. Mm-hmm. Yes, we have a general contracting license, and we do routinely rebuild and reconstruct and put, again, the job is to, the goal is to put the house back to what we call pre-loss condition. So put it back together, nice and neat, like nothing ever happened. And so we have all of those, the expertise to put all that back together again.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's great. And what am I missing?
Well, let's go back to the beginning. The first question you asked about the water. Let's say you're unable to locate where the water's coming from. Mm-hmm. Like you just don't know. Even if sometimes you call a plumber and plumbers can't find where the water's coming from. We are actually leak detection specialists as well. We have special equipment to actually locate, let's say, harder to find leaks. Because a lot of times it's obvious, the pipe's busted, I can see it, the toilet line overflowed, or the toilet itself, the water supply broke. Things a lot of times are very obvious. But there are a lot of instances where where it's not so obvious where the water's coming from. In that case, you want to enlist someone who has leak detection capabilities, and we are also equipped to do that. We do it all the time. We even help some of our plumbing partners with that.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
we are able to provide leak detection, so we can find where the leak is coming from if you need that. We're then able to isolate and help repair where it's leaking from. Um, then obviously do the extraction piece like we talked about, dry it out, remediate. If we did, if there was an extensive amount of damage to the property, we can then reconstruct and rebuild as you had mentioned. And if you've got a scenario, just to tie it all together, where there was damage to the clothing, damage to the furniture, but still salvageable, we can enlist our contents division to pack out the personal belongings of the home, take it to our warehouse, recondition it, clean it, remediate it, remove it from mold, dry it out if need be, pack it back, put it back in place like nothing ever happened.
Interesting. Rakesh, how did you get into this?
So, oddly enough, I started out on the HVAC path. I was in the air conditioning field for many years.
Mhm.
And then when I got tired, I was actually a technician in the field, turning the wrenches and such. But I decided at one point that, I didn't want to turn the wrenches anymore, but how do I use that experience and knowledge to further things along? And so I got more involved with sales and the management piece of things. And then that led me into business development. And so eventually I made my way to United Water Restoration, where the amalgamation of all these skills that I put in my toolbox, or all the tools I put in my toolbox, I'm able to utilize that expertise here.
And as the business development manager, are you looking for lead sources like me and my real estate agents, or are you looking for end user customers to call you up and say, Rakesh, help?
Well, in order for me to get that end user, my strategy is to basically partner with people like yourself to develop relationships. My job is to say, hey, here I am, right? It's not a matter of if, usually it's a matter of when. You yourself experienced, what sounds like a disaster.
Yeah.
So, who do you call and who do you trust that's not only capable and competent, but is going to do a good job for you, is going to communicate with you on time, and basically put everything back together, like I said, as if nothing ever occurred. So my job is to basically create those relationships and foster and build them to where now when something happens, we know who to call, and the word kind of spreads that way.
Uh-huh. And then tell me more about United Water.
So United Water Restoration Group is a company that has many franchise locations. I want to say we're up to about 70 right now, if memory serves me correct. We're operating in, I believe, 22 states in the U.S.
Mhm.
And I think we're also in 2 territories in Canada. Within the state of Florida, we're heavily concentrated with over 30 offices. And the United Water Restoration Group of South Florida, which I work with, we own or operate 5 locations, right? And so the 5 locations serve between all of Southeast Florida, from, let's just say, Jupiter south down into all the way through Miami, Homestead, Florida City. And we also have offices on the West Coast that lead over to from Sarasota to Naples.
Okay, so you caught a pet peeve of mine, and I don't think I could fight the whole world, but I've been meaning to do a podcast on it. I live in Boca Raton, which is in South Florida. Palm Beach County, Broward County, Miami is South Florida. The Keys, people don't refer to the Keys as South Florida. Technically, it could be, and they're not an East-West thing. North of Palm Beach County, St. Lucie and St. Louis County, Martin County is usually more the Treasure Coast, not South
Yes,
Florida.
Treasure Coast.
When you get out to the west coast of Florida, the Naples and Fort Myers, Punta Gorda area, people like to call that Southwest Florida, which I think is the correct name for it. because people say Southwest Florida, then all of a sudden the area I live in became Southeast Florida.
Right.
And I get it, and I get why. But for me, it's a pet peeve, and I'm not going to fight everyone on it, and I'm not trying to fight, but I wanted to get that out there because I wanted to tell my audience and press that it has become a pet peeve of mine, and I don't necessarily know what to do with pet peeves. I've been making a list. I might do a podcast episode on my Florida real estate pet peeves. And one of the reasons I'm wrong is the University of South Florida is in Tampa.
Tampa, right?
Right. That comes from when, before air conditioning, as Florida migrated south
Right.
from the capital.
Probably that's where it stopped.
Yeah.
Right?
So it's out. You're in Tallahassee. That's the center of Florida, and
Right.
the University of Florida is in Gainesville. So then, University of Central Florida is in Orlando. So
Right.
south of Tallahassee becomes University of South Florida. So that's why there are people when I do get into my South Florida versus Southeast Florida arguments. Well, people say, "Well, University of South Florida is in Tampa." I go, "I know, but that naming convention happens somewhere else."
Yeah.
But we are here in South Florida, and I have the same issues with East and West in Boca Raton. Like, there's no such thing, but people really define it, and then
Right.
a lot of times it's defined by restaurant franchises. When they open up a second location to distinguish the name, they make up these weird words. They call it Boca West instead of West Boca.
Right. Right.
Boca West is a country club that named itself Boca West
That's right.
to highlight a negative and turn it into a positive. But there's no line between East Boca and West Boca, and everybody defines it differently. But when a bagel store or pizzeria opens that second location out west, and they call it West Boca or Boca
Right.
West, weirdly Boca West, then it becomes problematic. And then all of a sudden, pizzerias and bagel stores define where we live and what we call where we live. So I'm going down a rabbit hole here.
100%.
But for me, call this area South Florida.
I've always referred to it as South Florida, but
Yeah.
so we have conversations like this, and I try to distinguish,
Yeah.
the east side of the state versus the west side of the state.
Right.
Just because we service both sides, it's
Mhm.
But yeah, I do agree that it's pretty much it. I always refer to it as South Florida.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
If you're talking to people that aren't familiar with South Florida, I say, well, have you heard of Miami? Have you heard of Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach? Oh,
Palm Beach, Broward, and Miami, and then some
You
people
know.
argue if it could be bigger, or some people argue it's just Broward and Miami, whichever. But for all of you in Punta Gorda, Fort Myers, and Naples, yeah, you're in Southwest Florida, right? And that's why they, I think even the airport might be called, Southwest.
There's
Florida.
a University of Southwest Florida as well.
Yeah.
Out there.
Florida Gulf Coast is out there.
Florida Gulf Coast, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's another. It's a good way to distinguish East from West, Atlantic versus Gulf. But the Gulf side of Florida, from Tampa south, that's Southwest Florida.
Correct.
But you cover the whole state.
So we have affiliate offices outside of our specific group, the South Florida group, I will say. If going up to Port St. Lucie or Orlando, it's kind of a handoff to another office, another ownership group, I should say. But yes, as a whole, the United Water Restoration Group covers the whole state of Florida. You can find an office in just about every major marketplace.
Yeah, of course. Okay. The last thing I wanted to ask you is, how do people get a hold of you?
Very simply, they can, if you want, I can just read off my cell phone here. The best way to reach me is direct. As I mentioned, I have the phone with me at all times, 954-304-7336. We'll say it again, 954-304-7336. I do have an email. It's kind of long because it has the whole company name in it, but it's Rakesh B. That's RAKESHB as in boy, and then you go UnitedWaterRestoration.com.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us on the Real Estate Finder podcast. I really enjoyed meeting you. Just want to let my customers and my teammates, other agents, employees, friends, and family know a great first impression starts with a well-maintained property, but unexpected water, fire, or mold can damage that property and put it at risk. That's where United Water Restoration Group comes in. They partner with real estate professionals across Florida to keep listings protected, clients happy, and deals moving forward no matter what happens. can imagine in a vacant property after the sellers move out and a week before closing there's water. You need to keep Rakesh's phone number handy. Realtors trust United Water Restoration Group for they're preferred by top insurers. They're recognized for reliability and results. Over 15 years of experience, proudly serving Florida's real estate community. Comprehensive water restoration and water, fire, and mold handled from start to finish. 24/7 emergency response. They are ready whenever you need them. Proven quality, certified technicians, and advanced equipment on every job. When disaster strikes, United Water Restoration Group helps you protect your listings, your house, and your reputation. Don't let water or mold damage or affect your property's resale value. Call Rakesh at 954-304-7336 for a complimentary assessment. Rakesh Bandari, Business Development Manager at United Water Restoration Group. Email rakeshb at unitedwaterrestoration.com. Website, floridahomerestoration.com. Cell phone, 954-304-7336. Hope it's okay. I just gave out your cell phone on air. Office number, 954-972-7510.
Matthew, I couldn't have said it any better. And I really appreciate you inviting me on.
Appreciate you being here. Appreciate you, Preston.
The future looks bright and the storms pass by. The sky's dark blue and it's almost that time. Light shows, cameras flash when I pass. Living in the moment, forget about the past. They save the best for last. Matthew Mania, we about to make a splash. Life is a marathon full of sharp turns. Gotta keep pace while the hands on the clock turns. High stakes, 5-star real estate. I run a show, you can tell the boss in the place. Electricity, energy, it vibrates. I'm always on time even if I'm late. I make dreams come true, living my life, hope the same for you. Success in my sights, got a real clear view. If you don't know the time, I'll give you a clue. You know what time, you know what time, you know what time it is. Yeah. You know what time, you know what time, you know what time it is. You know what time, you know what time, you know what time it is. You know what time, you know what time, you know what time it is. You know what time it is. You know whose time it is. You know what time it is. Matthew Mania, the time is his. You know what time it is. You know whose time it is. You know what time it is. Matthew Mania, the time is his. Yeah, got him shook, scared, can't look. We're not afraid.